Hello everybody, welcome back to Ashley's Treasure. I got another card tutorial to share with you. This one is going to be similar like the first one I showed you, as you can see here, but instead of using cardstock and colored pencils, it's going to have less layers, and it's actually going to all be with embossing powder. So in case if you don't have any foil paper, this is another technique you can use to have that nice shiny look. First you need a 5.5 by 4.25 inch card. And I use my embossing folder to crease the edges to make sure it's nice and folded. And then I ran out of that floral design paper, as you can see here. I don't have any that's wide enough, so I'm going to use this paper instead because I thought those two went really well together for the tutorial. And you'll need 1 7/8 by 2.5 inch on both of them. You need 2 of both of them. So I did 2 of the striped and now 2 of that measurements with this design as well. And then take white cardstock, and you'll need 4.25 by 3. This will be the part that borders the stamp from the Merry Christmas. And then another piece that's 4 by 2 3/4 because that is the size of the stamp that I am using. And then as you can see here, they fit perfectly. And then you will need 4 pieces of white cardstock at 2 5/8 by 2. These will be the parts that borders the design paper, as you can see there. And then I got out my favorite stamp. I use this one a lot. I had this a long time ago. And then need the Versamark ink and the heating tool. First, I'll start getting the cardstock out, and I just use the edges. I don't take the entire paper to get wet, just the edges, and like so, and you can see it shine, you can see where it's all sticky, and make sure I get all 4 edges really good and really juicy. And then get the embossing powder. Oh, and I don't think I mentioned, but the embossing powder that I'm using is Ranger's. I really like this. This one is the super fine, and it's the copper color, and to me it kind of looks more rose gold sometimes instead of just copper once you heat it. When you get the heat gun started, make sure that it's hot before you start putting it on the powder, or else it'll blow the embossing powder away. Make sure it's nice and hot before you start heating the embossing powder. And then the fun part, I love looking at that, but doesn't it look more rose gold than copper to you? Anyways, I love using it. I use it quite a bit. And then I used to get the Versamark out again and start juicing up the stamp and make sure it's nice and juicy. As you can see, it's all nice and wet. Because of it being a block stamp, I only get 1 chance of blocking it or stamping it. And then I get the paper out and start stamping on it, and I make sure I press really good on it. And look how it turned out. You can slightly see it. And then get the embossing powder again and get it all over. And then I try to get most of it back inside, but that's why I always have a scrap piece of paper underneath it. And then that's when I realized that I didn't use my static powder that helps prevent from the embossing powder to stick on places where you don't want it to. But I got my handy dandy little paintbrush out that I use to brush off the excess. Like so. Next time I'll remember, hopefully. And then get the heating tool out and make sure it's nice and hot before heating it so it won't blow off. And this is always the most satisfying part, is seeing it emboss. I love that copper color. And then you can see how it lines up. But instead of you could keep it just like that, or I like using my corner puncher. I've been using the scallop side a lot, so this time I wanted to change it up and use the stub side, and I really like how it turned out. And then I also used that on the piece that I used the embossing powder on. And then I used my ATG gun and just used it in the center because the tape does not stick on the embossing powder. So I got my art glitter glue. The glitter glue is not glittery, it's just the name of the brand. And the glue also gives you a little chance, a little wiggle room to make sure you got it evened up just right. And then I press it really good and make sure it's all stuck well. The part with the embossing powder will bend a little bit because of the heat, but once you glue everything down, it flattens out. At least for me it has. I haven't had any problem with it. And then I get the 4 pieces of white cardstock that I had cut out, that is 2 by 5/8 by 2, and do the same thing. Get all 4 edges nice and sticky. As you can see there, you can see some of the little glitteriness or the shininess. And then I laid them all out flat on the scrap piece of paper that I had and sprinkled all the embossing powder all over the sticky parts again. And is it just me, or does this embossing powder look like cocoa powder to you? It's making me super thirsty for hot chocolate, which would be perfect for this time of the year since it's so cold now. Anyways, start shaking all the excess off. I try to get some of it in the back in the little pail, but and then put it back in. Make sure that you have it shut too so you won't spill it. And then heat up again. I love this part. It's always so fun to watch. So satisfying. All right, then I glue all of them and I make sure I get all the 4 edges really good. And it is nice having the glue because then you can kind of wiggle it in place like so, so it lines up just right. And then I line them up on the card to see where they're gonna line up, and I get my ATG gun out and tape all 4 sides as close to the edge as I can and a little bit in the center, and make sure I have them centered up just right. And on one of them, I think I accidentally when I was taping it, I was kind of off, so I just got my glue out and fixed it a little bit to make sure that all 4 sides were gonna stick well. Yeah, see right there, just added some glue. But I just kind of eyeball it and make sure they're all lined up just right. And then I get my art glitter glue out again and do it around all 4 edges really good, and then in the center of the part with the saying the Merry Christmas part. And then I just kind of eyeball it and make sure it's all centered and press it really good, especially the 4 edges. I got a little bit of glue, but that's okay. You can just wipe it right off. And then I flip it over and use my bone folder and varnish it to make sure all the glue and tape is all stuck completely. And there it is. I really like how it turned out. And I think I like those 2 design papers together more than I did with the last one that I did. What do you think? Do you like this one more or this one more? The one with the scallop edges or the stub edges with the flowers, or the other design pattern? I like this one more. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed it, and if you liked it, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and hit the subscribe button so you won't miss out on anything. Have a great day, everybody. Bye.